Now, since we need Smith to freeze and Neo still be in motion, we know that we have to shoot green screen and shoot them 2 separate passes, giving us the ability to manipulate and freeze one pass while the other one is still in full motion. In production, you're going to light your green screen, set your position on the camera, your talent. Remember to white balance and focus. Go ahead and light your scene with the information you collected from the film. From there, add eye line position and movement markers for both Agent Smith and Neo. Neo requires a little bit more eye line movement, so you would actually have markers across the whole 360-degree room. They don't necessarily need to be on the green screen, but they can be at certain points that you have to look at. I certainly recommend shooting these plates with the same perspective and same scene. We shot our Agent Smith on a total separate angle and a total separate green screen setup, causing us to have a bunch of perspective problems in compositing that we needed to fix. Practice your timing, the movement, the eye lines, and even if you have the chance to do a rough composite, see what's wrong and make minor changes from there. After analyzing the shot, we did a rough composite with 16:9 and also just a bullet stop test. Also eye lines and perspective practice. From there, we derived a motion around the character and reshot the Neo plate a separate day. Also with this composite, we found out that we needed more room behind Agent Smith, along with keeping the same eye line and perspective. So we couldn't use the 16:9 aspect ratio. We had to once again switch it to 2:3:5:1 ratio, which was the matrix was shot with, giving us more room for Neo's character to actually walk around Agent Smith. Now in post-production, it's going to be a traditional thing that we've done twice in a row, is add your garbage matte along with your green screen key, spill removal, and edge blur to both Neo and Agent Smith's pass. Once you have that all cleaned up, Neo's plate is actually going to be on the bottom. Even though he's in the foreground closer to us, he has to walk behind Agent Smith. So his layer has to be underneath until he actually walks fully around him. Then we'll split the layer and set that particular layer above Agent Smith. So then he's on the other end of walking back, he's in front of him rather than behind him. Position the characters in the frame and make sure the eye lines line up. We had to rotate Agent Smith slightly so he was looking in the correct direction along with the way the gun was pointed. From there, we timed it with when he shot the gun, when he was going to freeze, and when Neo's hand was fully going to be up to actually freeze the shot. At the same time, bring in your CGI bullet and shell and animate those into the shot with timing. Do a rough composite right then and there and see how the timing looks. To make the CGI bullet and shell actually look like it's exiting the gun, you will create a mat around the edge of the gun's barrel. And you can create a circle mat by making multiple points, or you can make 3 points and 2 points and actually use the tool that we used in the previous shot for the ripple effect. Also, we want the shell to pop out at a certain point, so you'll mat everything except you'll line the bullet and shell up into the gun as if it was sitting in there, but you'll add the mats so you really can't see them inside the gun. You only see them as soon as they exit the gun. What you'll do is when they need to freeze, you'll find the point that you want them to freeze and actually split that layer. When you split that layer, then you will then add the freeze frame effect. You go to time mapping and you will add a freeze frame. You'll not only repeat this on the Agent Smith layer to freeze his layer, but you will repeat it also on the bullet and the shell. Now on all these layers, you will have to add digital shadows. So you'll add a radial shadow and let the software know where your key lights are, where you want the shadows to project and the strength that you want them to project. And of course the shadows are always a layer underneath the actual object that it's reflecting off of. Because if you have the shadow in front, it's actually going to shadow the character in front rather than behind. Now the moment that Neo walks around Agent Smith, you need to find that point where he is now going to be walking in front. As soon as that happens, you split that layer and of course set it on the very top and make sure it's above Agent Smith. So when he then comes back to his starting position, He's actually walking in front rather than behind. Now, on that particular corner, there's the shadow effect that if you were to just jump from the back layer to the front layer, the shadow is just going to pop out of nowhere. So what you're going to have to do is actually keyframe the shadow to kind of work its way in. And you can do that by keyframing just the light source. You set the keyframe up where it's off his face, and then you'll find the point where you want the shadow to fully appear onto his face, and you'll set another key point. The animation will do the rest. So the shadow will gradually work its way into the shot rather than just appear out of nowhere. Since we shot our Matrix Freeze shot on two separate locations, both Neo and Agent Smith were shot in two total separate perspectives. A lot of manipulation had to be done in compositing to make them look like they were in the same scene together. We could not find a background plate that actually shone the correct perspective, so we left to leave it black.